So this is the update on how we grow peas here. So you can grow two different types of peas that people typically grow in gardens: snow or snap. The snow ones are the flat ones, and the snap ones are kind of the plump ones, the thicker ones. So we do trellis them here. You see a very long line of these things. So this is one of the few crops that I will directly sow. They have very good germination. I really don't need to tarp. They will pop up even very early on in the spring when it's still quite cool out and you're still getting freezing temperatures. So they will pop up quite nicely. We do trellis them, although it's not necessarily a requirement you have to do it. They will be self-supporting. You see their little tendrils will kind of tie onto these, but you'll see a number of them that will just be freestanding. So they are strong enough to stand up by themselves, but I do give a little trellis here and there. You see, I think they're 9, so 3 rows per square foot, so there's 4 or 5 rows, and I only have 4 strings, so I'm not supporting each line of peas that I have here, but it provides enough that at least some will latch on, and then maybe the next row will latch on onto them. So it is a supporting structure that is, I guess, collaborative through each of the little pea plants. There's about 750 pea plants, so that is quite a lot, but you also have to remember that each of these pea plants only really produce about 3 or 4 pods at best before it gets too hot out and everything dies. So you really don't get a good harvest on a per plant basis, which means you just have to grow a lot for yourselves and for others and all that. So these will keep going. So this is about 5 weeks into it. I still don't see any flowers onto it, but it is getting a bit warmer. And really the main reason you grow them obviously is for the peas, but the second main reason is for what it's doing beneath the soil. So peas are able to fixate nitrogen. So they have on their roots a nitrogen fixating bacteria that will take nitrogen in the air and fixate into a bioavailable nitrogen form. So when the next plant comes in, it will be highly rich in nitrogen. So typically I will do these where either I had a very heavy feeder, like a tomato plant that maybe took up a lot of the nutrients, or where I'm about to put one of those plants. So in this case, I'm probably going to put some cucumbers and some pumpkins here. So I want to get that soil as good as I can with it. And another great thing about pea plants, and unfortunately I have all the beds all occupied at the moment, but their roots are very good. They go deep enough where they break up that early hard soil when you're starting out beds or when you're starting in spring. So it gets that soil nice and fluffy. This is already nice and fluffy already because it's just straight compost. But it's very good at not only fixating nitrogen into the soil, but breaking up that soil. So when you do put in your next round of plants, the soil is nice and fluffy, it's rich in nitrogen, and you're good to go. So I typically like to sow a lot of peas all over the place, even when I'm not going to have the peas themselves, simply because of the positive impact that it puts into that soil. So it's something to think about beyond just harvesting from crops. It does support the soil system, which is obviously the most critical part to support good plant life. So that's kind of how we do the peas here.